Okay, hello everybody. Welcome. I am in my husband's domain here. I'm in the garage with my little buddy who he's brushing his teeth. First toothbrush. He's very excited about it. I think he's enjoying just chewing on it. One of the kids is napping. The other one decided to not nap. So he gets to help mommy here in the garage as I tinker around with Gary's toys. I have a few projects that I've asked Gary to do, and so I feel like I need to learn and help out as well. So, one of the projects is just a decorative project that Gary made, and I'll show it to you. It's right here. This is the back of it. It's pallet wood that I'm going to turn into the front of it here. He's sanded. And I'm going to actually draw the state of Idaho on there, and then I'm going to stain it. And we're going to put that up on the wall because that's where I'm from. I am from the great state of Idaho. So that's one of my projects I'm doing. The other one I'm doing is we are putting curtains in our living room. We've never had curtains in the living room. We've been here a few years. So we're going to do our own curtains. We went and bought the dowels, and I'm going to stain them right now since I've got a little free time. I've got free hands. And my little helper on the back, so he'll be watching me. And it's an indoor stain, so it's water-based, so it shouldn't be really stinky, I don't think. Never used one before, so I'm just going to kind of give it a go. Okay, so here's a little bit of the progress. These are the two dowels that I'm staining because we're going to cover two windows in our living room. So you can see the lighter one is how we bought it originally, and the second one, the darker one, is the one I'm staining. This is the stain I'm using. Let's see if you can find it. We can see what it is here. Okay. So that's what I'm using. And honestly, it looks really dark, but I think I'm going to have to put several coats on each rod to actually get the color that we're looking for. But I like the way that it's going so far.
We're continuing here with our curtain project, and went ahead and did a couple of things before started filming today. And let me show you kind of what we're going for here, get oriented. So my wife showed you the dowels that we're going to be using kind of to run the curtains on. I'm going to probably put another coat or two of stain on those. But how we're planning on affixing those to the wall is something like this. Now this is just a test piece, so you can imagine this going on the wall, this being kind of screwed into that right there, and then the dowel will run through that hole right there. So if we bring this piece over here, basically, if we had the wall, say, right here, then this piece would go into the wall, and back up for perspective, and this will go straight in there, and that is exactly what would be holding the dowel up. And then, of course, the curtains would come along this part of the dowel here. So what I've done so far is cut down. Actually, I ripped a 2x6 down into these blocks here. Started with some 60 grit sandpaper, then went down to 120. Probably before we stained, might hit it with some 220. And the grains or the grit of the sandpaper, just as it goes higher, the grain or the grit gets finer. And so if you want to take off more wood, go with the lower grit. If you want to take off less wood, kind of go with the higher grit. You're kind of smoothing out the grooves of the previous sandpaper. Had some of this scrap 3/4 inch birch that I actually used for this workbench here, and ripped that down to length, and that is going to be the back piece. So again, this is just a scrap, but I'm going to use that birch right here, screw it in from the other side, and then of course screw all this to the wall, run the dowels through. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to set up a template. This is one of my blocks, and 5-inch length here. So I went ahead and found a center point with this width, and I brought the center point back 2 inches here. And I'm going to use a 1 1/4 inch Forstner bit, which is this kind of bit here, just to better shot of that maybe, get the kind of the holes drilled. And that's what I've used for this test piece as well. So in the past I've used a hole saw, which never really worked so well. It always took so much time trying to get the actual piece of wood out of the hole saw. So I think the Forstner bit is the way to go. So I'm gonna go ahead and drill these, and then cut this piece down to length, and we'll see you in the next video. So after all the pieces are cut, I'm left with something that's like this. So I have my backing, I have my kind of centerpiece where the dowel will go through, and what I've done is I just kind of tacked it down with a little nail, from the nail gun here, but that's not sufficient. So the process I'm going through to go ahead and get these screwed down is go ahead and mark a center line. So there's kind of a progression here, I'll show you. Mark a center line so I know exactly where this center of this board is here. And then I just mark kind of the edges so I know exactly here is the center of the 2x4 that's underneath, so I know exactly where to drill and place my screws. So I make these lines on all of these pieces, and then the next thing I do is I go ahead and pre-drill where I want those screws to go, and just using a little drill bit here, and so that's really kind of step 2 or 3. Then the next step is I countersink those with a countersink bit here to make sure, see this piece right here, this is going, you know, kind of flat up against the wall. So I don't want any of the screw heads protruding out. So I'll go ahead and drill those down. You can see how that kind of looks, you know, kind of below the surface. And then of course the final piece is to go ahead and screw this in. And so you can kind of see, you know, nothing of the screw head out there. So after this, go ahead and screw all of these pieces together. Go ahead and do a final sand, wipe it down, and then we'll stain them and then put them up. This is the final step before we go ahead and put these on the wall. But so in the previous segment, these were not stained. So my wife went ahead and put a couple of coats of stain on there. And let me hold this up for you right here on the miter saw. What we did again here is we pre-drilled here and here, and went ahead and countersunk those because this will, like the example before, this will go, you know, into the wall, and the dowel will run through there. So so far we're super happy with the appearance here. Other windows, we'll need to cut that dowel down to length and kind of reapply stain on the end piece. But the next piece is just going up and kind of finding some studs or using some drywall screws to go ahead and put these on the wall and hang the curtains. We're excited, getting close to being done. So this is the curtain rod and the pieces that we did on the wall now. So I'm not sure how good the light is, but you can kind of see the 3, did one in the middle there, and then one here on the left. And if I can kind of back up, you'll see we don't have the hangers, the curtains hung yet, kind of drying those and ironing them out, but you can kind of see that's what it looks like. We can get an angle here, an angle shot in here. You can see the dowels going in there. See, get up close, kind of going through those pieces here. So all in all, we're happy with how it turned out, and do a final shot here in a little bit with the curtains up. We still want to hang some over on this wall, but essentially this is a pretty done project. For sure. So here's kind of the final production here. We might show you one more video where we put one of these curtains on either side of the centerpiece, so both windows has a full set. We have 2 more of these curtains, so we can put it there. So this is the last video in the series. We went ahead and did a curtain in the middle on either side. So really it's 2 curtains per window, and we like that configuration the best. I'm not sure if the lighting's good enough in here to see, but back up, you can kind of see at least a little bit what it looks like, and really gives a nice appearance and cozy in here whenever they're closed. Went ahead and put up this window as well. Need to order a couple of curtains for that one, but that one's primed and ready to go. We think it turned out well, and it was a lot of fun.